To my driven and ambitious entrepreneurs, welcome to your Ambitious Tribe podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, you're exactly where you need to be, and there are no coincidences. You're about to listen to an episode where our guest will be walking us through the missing link between success and failure. And I'm really, really excited, you guys, to have her with us as she's been trained and worked with the world renowned and respected Bob Proctor to run Bob's Thinking into Results program. If you don't know that, you guys got to Google that. It's not obvious, but I'm a little bit fangirling here. When she reached out to be part of this podcast, I must have done something right. Yeah. Now, as a big fan, been a big fan of our mentor Bob Proctor myself, as someone who is moved by his teachings when he reminds us all about quantum leaps and empowered decisions. Having her today, this guest of ours, truly just gave me so much chills everywhere, as she's an empowered woman who has changed not just hers, but also other people's lives. And don't you dare pause it, you guys. If you have already achieved a certain level of success, but know that you are destined for so much more, or if you're a dreamer with such audacious goals and a visionary filled with philanthropic dreams or maybe lofty goals, we all know that money is a tool, abundance is a feeling. But furthermore, in this episode, we'll dig deeper towards manifestation, spirituality, and what does it really means to lead with intention. Let's give our guest an elite level performance and mindset coach and the founder of Your Two Minds, and one of the only few who has received Bob Proctor's pins around the world. Okay, let's give her a round of applause. Here she is. Her name is Suzana M. Hi, Suzana. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. It's my absolute honor to be with you today. Thank you so much for having me on your incredible show.
Right. And I'm just really, really happy and excited. And over the backstage, Susanna and I were just laughing about, her surname because I can't really pronounce it. I've been trying, but she said just, it's Susanna. Okay, I'm going to try in here. Okay. Suzana Mihajlovic.
Beautiful.
Close enough?
Who said that you can't pronounce that? That was perfect.
Okay, I'm going to give myself a round of applause and confetti here too. All right, so Susanna, I'm going to dive right in. What is your story? Who is Susanna many milestones ago before Your Two Minds, Bob, and all these achievements that you've had currently practiced? I mean, let's give our audience a little bit of the meat of your past.
That's a great question. Who is Susanna? Look, I think I'm the Susanna that I am now. That's what I've always been. So as a child, my earliest childhood dreams was to be an international leader, to be helping people break through their barriers in whatever area of their life it was, and to reach higher levels. For some reason, I don't know where it came from. It was probably from my migrant parents, a father that had huge dreams for me, that taught me how to dream when I was a kid. There was lots of bullying there, so my escape was dreaming and taking myself to bigger places of achievement, of whatever. But I had this innate and natural, I don't know, I guess it's a gift, to really understand where a person is and immediately understand their barriers and help them break through. I don't know where that came from. Wow. And it's interesting, even when I was a little child in primary school, I remember babies, children, adults just drawn to me. I had that some sort of something. I was very spiritual as a child, even though I grew up with a family that wasn't, we had our beautiful Archangel Michael and the Jesus and Mary icon in the corner of the kitchen, but we'll never really taught about religion or spirituality. It was something that was quite natural in me. After high school, I studied psychology and then counseling, thinking that it was it. But I always knew, and then ended up in senior and middle to senior management in the helping sector. But I always knew deep down inside me that there was something more, and I'd get frustrated at work and with the studies that I had, because even though I love psychology and there's a place for psychology and counseling, it was so limiting. To me, there was a formula that they missed. They forgot that the person has infinite potential. So we go back and talk about the past and try to understand the past in a person's life.
Yes, absolutely.
And 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 we were taught to give them small goals, one small goal, one small goal. But really, like what you said, Cassie, we are designed for quantum leaps. And intrinsically, I knew that as a child. And I had this dream of going out there and being an author and doing what I'm doing now. And that's what drew me to Bob Proctor's work about 10 years ago. So I would drive to my senior management job, and I worked for an incredible organization. I have respect for the work they did, but it just wasn't for me, because I knew that
Mm.
we had so much more potential. So I'd be driving to work listening to Bob, and I knew one day I'd be sharing the stage with him. I didn't know how, and I knew he would be my friend. I didn't know how. He didn't know I existed. And it was a dream that I would not share with anyone, because I felt that it would be trampled on. So nobody knew. Nobody knew. And when I decided
Magical.
to step out in 2017 to do my purpose without knowing how I'm going to get there, one step led to another and
Mm.
another. And the other day I received an email, just last week, received an email from Bob saying, I love you, my friend. So, it's one thing to be a consultant. It's another thing to have that dream of 10 years actually come true. So,
Yes. Wow. This is just like it's very magical, you know. Actually, what led me to Bob Proctor as well was when I've been reading Think and Grow Rich since I was in high school. And it's a book that my father sent it to me and gave me, instead of reading all these romantic novels and whatever. Yeah, he would like pick me up and said, hey, you got to read this book. And ever since, though, I've always been amazed by the power of your thoughts, the power of human potential, and that at an early age as well. It's just as you said, right? Like one thing led to another, that they're all encompassing, they're all compounding, that they're all, it has a direction if you set your mind into it, even if you don't see it every day. But your subconscious mind is what leads you there. And I love it when, when I learned also more about you, when you said that you have this deep passion for human potential and this understanding on how to overcome barriers. And it's a gift. Honestly, it's a gift, because not everybody thinks that challenges is actually a gift, right? Not everybody thinks that challenges is the one that will bring us to a greater level of success. And I love it when I read more about you and you having to hear it from you as well. Maybe this is something that I need to ask you about. Like, can you walk us through the journey on how you get to do that? I mean, this gift, right, that you have, and how did you have that mindset shift towards, oh yeah, it's the challenge. Okay, maybe I'm not gonna take it like as if I'm a failure, but I'll take it as something that I should conquer even more. So maybe you can help us. Like there are people who are encapsulated in this prison of scarcity, most importantly, right?
yes,
And
yes,
lack of confidence.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you use the term prison,
Yeah.
because I did a Facebook Live this morning and I was talking about the jail cell,
Oh wow.
the cell that we all put ourselves into,
Mm.
and it's really the jail of your mind, the prison of your mind, right? So
Mm.
you are never going to be able to use all of your potential in this one lifetime.
Wow.
Think about that.
That's powerful. Why do you think so? Why do you think that not everybody, or actually all of us, won't be able to tap into that? How did you get into that conclusion that we also have a limit, even if we feel we're limitless?
For me, it was something that I just felt as a child. I can't explain it. Well, actually, I probably can. You see, and it was the frustration that I had in my career, and I loved psychology.
Yeah.
Psychology is just amazing, and studying the brain. But I knew that there was so much more to us, so much more to us. And it's the side, that the energetic side, the spirit, that has the perfection. Okay. And Cassie, you said that, most people, I would agree about, I reckon 99.9% of people will go to their grave, sadly,
Mm.
sadly. not even recognizing their full potential, or not even recognizing that they have full potential. And I think
Yeah.
that's because we are so caught up with the five senses. We are
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
caught up with our dogmatic views of what's right, of the opinions that we have created or that have been passed down from generation to generation, that we may have been born with, or that, you know, we may have experienced a trauma, whatever it is, our idea of who we are so attached, so addicted to that, that we don't even open it up a little bit to see if there might be another truth about who we are. And we don't
Hmm.
know that. So we live our life unconscious. Most people live their life unconscious, not knowing. They think that they're free just because they live in a Western culture or whatever, right? A modern world, you know, they think that they're free. But really, as you said, they are living in a prison. And it's just that one little crack that they need to help the light come through, and that one little crack that they need to understand that they are so much more than their ideas, than their belief systems, than their paradigms that they have carried all their life.
You know, it is interesting too when you said about being caught up in your five senses. And suddenly I was like, okay, this is something that I truly believe in too, in terms of manifesting things, right? If you want
Mm.
to manifest something, you've got to do the work, and also you got to tap into your five senses. But you just actually mentioned something about you're being caught up or caught into the five senses and being imprisoned into your five senses. I mean, what do you mean by that? Maybe can you expound us more into that?
So what I mean is we're so caught up on the physical, and you know, so 100% of our concentration and focus is on the physical, what's here now, what I can see, what I can taste, what I
Mm,
hear, you know, what I
mm,
touch. But in reality, that's only less than 1% of what's happening. So to manifest, we actually we don't, it doesn't start with your five senses. It starts with imagination.
yeah,
It starts with desire,
yeah.
right? The spirit. It starts with understanding what it is that you really want. So I'm experiencing this and it's not nice. What I want instead, I want this. And when you align yourself with your heart center, with your intuition, and Einstein said, and I love it that Einstein said, and, you know, and the works of Tesla too, you know, they
Yeah,
speak
yeah,
about,
Elon.
we're
Mhm.
only starting to understand the work of Nikola Tesla, you know. But, you know, Einstein, I love it that Einstein said this. And the reason why I love it is because so many people that are caught up in their intellect, in the physical, in what they think is true. You know, Einstein says that intuition is actually the sacred gift,
Oh, yeah.
and intellect is the
Logic.
servant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we admired him
Processing.
for his intellect,
Mm,
right? We thought he was, we so admire him for his intellect, but he, one of our strongest intellectuals that lived,
mm.
said that intellect is actually the servant and the intuition is the sacred gift. And he also said that, you know, that if he had a choice to give up his intellect or his imagination, he would give up his intellect in a flash, hands down, because imagination is where everything starts, right?
Yeah.
So intuition is not something that the five senses.
Can, yeah, can
Yeah,
explain and touch.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I think we're tapping into spiritual entrepreneurship here and spiritual side of being who we are. And there are, I think some people would think that spiritual entrepreneurship or tapping into your spirituality means they're all woo woo or too religious or and all do that. But I know that it's something else. It's something more because it's all about the power of your mindset, your subconscious mind. And you're right about intuition, about things that their five senses can't tap. And it's important too that we get to have that level of self-awareness. Maybe this is why too that keeping still is the hardest thing a person can ever do. It's like
Mm.
one of the hardest thing that I ever do, because when you're still, there's just like so many noise that's going to happen, and you just can't seem to just focus on what does really matter, right? And I wanted to ask you, like, because with that exercise and also this, I mean, it's this entrepreneurship. I mean, I keep on telling this and saying this in my podcast interviews, and I keep on saying that that entrepreneurship is the best, the best personal development you're ever going to get into, and it's the best self awareness you're ever going to get self yourself. Oh my goodness, you're right.
Right.
So much, girl, right? And I wanted to ask you, I mean, I'm going to geek out a bit, I think, but I'm just a little bit holding back. But I,
Go for it.
yeah. So yeah, so as a spiritual entrepreneur yourself, I love it when you talk about the power of mindset and intuition. And truly, it is the most crucial exercises an entrepreneur can, should ever or can ever get into day in, day out. But with your words, right? I want to know it from your end to, like, what does it mean to be a spiritual entrepreneur, and why is it every serial entrepreneur's secret weapon? What do you think?
Mm. First of all, I love that question. But first of all, I
Yeah.
want to say, and I love how you started that, because, people think, oh, spiritual entrepreneur, religion, whatever,
Yeah.
But what they don't know is, so I'm talking to you through a MacBook Air. You asked me to connect with my iPhone, okay? So,
Mhm.
so the brains behind Apple, Steve Jobs, he was a spiritual entrepreneur,
Yeah. I
right?
can see. Yeah.
Yeah, here's the book and I bought the book that he gave out to his when he died at his funeral. It was autobiography of a yogi.
Ah.
Autobiography of a yogi. Okay, you cannot get more spiritual than this, right? And the reason why I understand now why he was so attached to this book. It was the only book that he had on his iPad, is because the people represented in this book are doing stuff that you are just like, you're scratching your head. You're like, is this really true? Right?
Mm.
Because they have tapped into, they've switched off what they think a human being is, right?
Mm.
They've switched off their paradigms and they've connected to spirit.
Mm.
And when you connect to spirit, it's an energy. It is the intelligence. It is the infinite intelligence. So it's infinite. It is everywhere. There's nowhere that this energy cannot be. It's in this computer that I'm looking at you from. It is in you. It is in those beautiful frames that you've got on the wall. It can't not be anywhere. Okay,
Mm.
so this intelligence is the same intelligence that has created everything. I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah.
And it's the intelligence and the energy that has created the Milky Way, the solar system, our beautiful, beautiful Earth. And it's created you too. And it's in you.
Mm.
It's in everything. So all it is tapping into the greatest intelligence that exists, rather than tapping into our fears and the rubbish and the viruses in our head, so that you can co-create, you can create, you can connect to your intuition, you can connect to the gift of who you are and the gift of why you are here on this earth. And you can open up and you can start to manifest, attract, experience miracles if you want to. These people are nothing short of miracle creators, but it's their natural state, because they understand, to us it's miracles because we're still in our head, we're still in the five senses. But the people in this book are actually beyond that. And it's
Buy that
using,
book. Okay, I'm gonna get that book.
yeah, yeah. And
Right.
it and it and it's connecting to your essence so that you can give the gift of you. And the law of cause and effect says what you give, what's inside you, is going to go outside of you. And what's
Mm.
outside of you is the creation of what's inside you, because it's all energy.
Yeah, energy flows where energy goes, right?
Absolutely, that's right.
Yeah.
And if I am of service to you, if I can give you service today from my soul, from my gift, I will naturally be rewarded. There's enough money. Money is just energy, and it will come to you just like that.
Yes.
Okay, it's very different to greed. We're not talking about greed here, right? It will come completely different. When the spiritual entrepreneur, the spiritual millionaire is very different to the materialistic millionaire. And I don't mean you can't have nice things. I've got nice things. I love nice things.
Yeah.
You know, but it's the understanding and where you are coming from in having those things. That is the difference.
You know, that's so true, too, right? When you start, no, actually, when you stop chasing for money and you start fueling yourself with good energy, good vibration, it's all
Yeah,
about the frequency that you give in exchange. Like the money comes in naturally. It's like the universe suddenly becomes an ATM. It's like, okay, you did good
yes,
today, right? Right?
yeah,
You did good today. Now, if you're not getting any good today, if you're not getting any money right now, it's not because you're not doing the work. It's just that you're exactly where you need to be and what is the lesson that you need to actually learn today.
yeah,
And that's actually something that, again, I mean, I love this entrepreneurship, honestly. Like so
yeah,
many things, right, that we've been learning and having to listen to Bob, having to listen to you right now. I love this conversation that we're having. Um, let me just go straight into this. How do we get to coincide wealth, purpose, and spirituality? I mean, again, nothing is coincidental, right? So, why do you think, and how do we think we can piece them all together? Because, again, people are in a place of scarcity right now, and there are, I think, only few of us who kind of like understand that, okay, if you don't have money right now, it's not because you don't have money. It's just that, okay, what are you going to do about it? Right? Or if you don't, if you're sick right now, okay, you're sick. Don't pity yourself. What are you going to do about it? Some other people are going to go downright, spiral already and feel
yeah,
that they're a victim already. Right? So I would
yeah.
love to pick it all up, this energy that you have, and explain maybe in your words, of course, like how do you coincide wealth, purpose, and spirituality together?
Sure, Cassie. Sure, sure. So for me, they are
Mm.
one and the same thing. Okay, so let's break them down so we can
Yes.
understand. So let's start with purpose.
Okay.
So purpose for me is that deep yearning, that deep knowing inside yourself. So you asked me the question, tell me a little bit about you and your history. And I went back into my childhood.
Childhood.
That child knew her purpose because it was such a part of her. You could not separate that from me. You know,
Mm.
it was just a part of me. And I knew one day I was going to be an international author and an international leader in this field. Back
Mm.
then, we didn't even have coaching.
Yes, that's true.
Being spiritual was a religious, you know.
Yes, yes.
So, but it knew. So that's my purpose. That's my gift, right? For me, I feel it here. Okay. You cannot separate yourself from your purpose, from your gift. You can hide it. You can put things on top of it. For example, go to work and have a job and all that just to pay the mortgage and to survive. But it's still deep, deep down under there, right? It's our uniqueness. That's why every single one of us is unique, because we are here to contribute. We are here to serve.
Yeah.
Wealth. Okay. Now, you mentioned that there are so many people living in scarcity. Well, scarcity is a mindset.
Thank you.
Scarcity is not understanding who you truly are.
Yeah.
So when you understand this, intelligence is everywhere. Okay. And everything is energy. This intelligence is in everything. It's in you, it's in this computer. Everything is energy. So you start to understand that money is energy. Okay. Most people have created a God out of money. Most people are allowing money to control them.
Mm.
If you're thinking, I don't have enough, if you're thinking, you're fearful of money, if your paradigms are saying rich people are bad, whatever, money is controlling you. Okay. If you don't have enough, money is controlling you. So, and that's where greed comes. That's where, people that also and money is controlling people that don't have money and that do have money, because there are people that only focus on money. They're out of balance.
Mm,
When you
mm,
see, when you think that money is just a paper note,
mm,
okay, it has
mm,
no meaning. We put the
mm.
meaning onto it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
its purpose is to serve you. Okay.
Yes.
We don't need money. Money needs you.
Yeah. True.
Money needs you, because without you, it cannot be circulated. It cannot fulfill its purpose. So when you understand that you are an infinite being and you connect to yourself, your real self, not your ego. We all have ego, okay? But your real core, that knowing, that all knowing, that intelligence inside you, you understand that that energy is also in money.
Yeah.
So what you start to do, what I started to do, this is not something that was really taught. It was something that I look back, because I had quantum leap after quantum leap after quantum leap in my life and in my business in the
Mhm.
past few years. And it was just until I look back, I'm like, hang on, why is this so easy for me? I realized how I had changed.
Yeah.
And what I started to do is I started to understand that you can never spend money. Okay. If you think you're spending money, it's not going to come back to you. But if
Mm.
you understand that you are circulating money,
Yeah.
it's always
Beautiful.
coming back. So if it's an energy, so I give to you, Cassie, so I can buy your coaching program, for example. Okay, so I'm giving to you with love, and in
Yes.
return, you're giving me your gift of love. You are going to enjoy the money I'm going to give you, because I'm giving it to you in a blessing. I'm not giving it to you from scarcity. Oh my God, this is too much money. How am I going to pay for it? Da, 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 right? If you've got that mindset, it's not coming to you. I know that you are such a worthy coach, so I'm going to pay you what you're worth. Enjoy. And I'm giving you something to have to free you up so that you can live your dream. And in return, you are giving me love through your gift, through your purpose, through your coaching. So then you understand it's the energy that is circulating, right? So it becomes spiritual.
Yes. I
Okay.
love. I love.
Money is not good or bad. It just is. It's what you created with the energy.
Absolutely. I love the way you said it. I mean, that way. Something that I always share too that I resonate and I want to echo in what you said. What I always say is that business shouldn't enslave you, it should serve you. And
Absolutely.
when it serves you, serve it with love as well, because it's going to serve love back to you. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's something that I always say, even with ambitions, right? Because this is the ambitious tribe, and we're
Yes.
all about ambitions. People are saying like negatively about ambitions, but for me, it's the other thing, right? For me, what ambition is about serving love, right? It's serving the best of her capabilities and not being right, but also sometimes being wrong. And I just to echo into that, I love it when you said that it's ever circulating, that when you spend, actually I tell my husband this every time, like whenever we pay our bills, I would say, okay, just say, okay, you gave me energy, like
Yes.
yeah, right, water, electricity, whatever, I'm paying back because of the energy that you gave me, right? It's
Yes.
not because, oh, it's a bill, oh my god, I dread it. It was like, honey, let's stop dreading it, because
Yes.
it's not, it's giving us the relief,
That's
right? Sure,
right.
we can cut the cost a bit, sure, but it's just that. So I wanted to, say thank you for, for saying that, because sometimes it's different when other people, like other person is the one who's saying it. It feels more real that you're not woo woo,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah.
should.
Okay. I love it. So, in terms of the awareness, okay, I guess I think you and I are in a place of understanding here, but I just wanted to go back down to, some of those people who may not understand what we're talking about. So, I'm going to geek out. I've been geeking out a bit, but I'm trying to hold back. But yeah, so in terms of awareness, how do you think can we raise our awareness to see, the bigger picture of your endeavor, of your vision? I mean, how do you help your clients also to get to that, reach that awareness?
Absolutely. So I work with my clients for a minimum of 6 months. Some a year, some have come back after a year. One has asked for lifetime membership just recently. But yeah,
It's
it's
so
really,
good. Congratulations.
yeah. So it's really, the repetition. I mean, I give a lot of value in my program. But for the sake of the person that is listening to this, maybe we should do a little bit of an exercise. Okay,
Yes,
so
sure. Go for it. Let's do that.
if I was to ask them, what is one thing that you want that you think is impossible for you as a start? Okay, so that might be more money, that might be a beautiful relationship, that might be, just having that job that they desire, or travel, or whatever. So whatever it is for you, think of one thing that you think is impossible for you to achieve. Just think of it. You might write it down. Okay. Now, so you think that's impossible for you to achieve only because of your thinking. Now, some of these people that are listening, your listeners might be saying, well, no, that's not true, Suzana. You don't know me. You don't know my family. You don't know the relationship I was in. You don't know that I've grown up in poverty. And all of that is fact. I'm not denying that many of your incredible listeners have had difficult times. But I just invite them to be open for a little bit. And I want you to think of, the situation that you're in now, and then I want you to think about your dominant thoughts about that situation. So let's say you don't have enough money in the bank. So what are your dominant thoughts? Are you thinking, oh my God, there's not enough. How am I going to get through? How am I going to feed the children? This feels horrible. Why does this always, whatever, what is it? What is it for you? So identify that thought, and you might want to write it down. Now I want you to think back in your history. How have you thought about money or that situation that you're in? So in childhood, what was the belief of your family? What was your experience? And I can assure you that it is a similar belief to what you have now. Okay, so how can you change something in the future? How can you change the money situation, or how can you achieve the thing that you want? You're absolutely right in saying that you're not going to be able to achieve it if you've got the same thinking. So we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are unconscious, and most of them we are repeating. So you're repeating this same thing over and over and over again, and you've been repeating it for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. You're not even aware. Okay. So what if I was to say to you, what if there was this tiny, tiny chance, if you change something inside yourself, things will start changing? Does that open up something? You see, Price Pritchett, right? If you don't have Price Pritchett's book, so U squared, this is the quantum leap strategy. Okay, he says, and I'm talking to your incredible listeners right now, very short book. Get it, U squared. That's the first one. This is the second one. I don't have U squared on my desk now, and it's fact. Okay, you are actually designed for quantum leaps. So you're designed wherever you are now to make a quantum leap to the goal that you want. But the problem is that you are in your prison cell because you don't dare to take a risk and think differently. Yeah, and change something.
Yeah.
What if you took a risk and you believed me, if you changed something inside yourself, that your world would change? What would be the worst thing that can happen to you? And
Mhm.
some people will just want to hold on to their life, want to hold on to being a victim, and that's okay. I'd prefer not to be around people like that, because the energy is not the energy that I want. It's up to you. There's nothing right or wrong, but don't expect to change your life if you want to stay a victim.
Yeah.
So they see you, Cassie, you've got an incredible life. They've just met me. I've got an incredible life. So if we are doing this, it's not because we're lucky. We
Mm.
are exactly the same as your beautiful listeners and followers, exactly the same. We might look different. I'm European, you're from the Philippines. We may have had different, experiences. Like I grew up in Australia, but, of European parents, so we may look different, but ultimately inside us, we have exactly the same potential.
Absolutely.
And we've all had hardships. I've had my trauma too.
Mm.
But I choose to focus on my potential. So it's a choice.
I love that. Empowered decisions really is all about quantum leaps. And thank you for the wonderful exercise. I will make sure that in our show notes, dear listeners, you'll be able to grab that so that you can actually do that exercise. And those are really great journal prompts as well, because in self awareness, you have to really know what are the patterns that you have been going through every day, because without it you wouldn't know what it is that you really need to change.
Mm.
And yeah, so in terms of in this motivation that you have, I know you've been doing this for 10 more than 10 years now, 20 years now, and you've been studying the brain. It's just so beautiful, the brain. Sometimes I wish I was a doctor, but anyway, so
A brain surgeon would be fun, wouldn't
yeah,
it? A
right.
surgeon, yeah.
Right, but too
Yeah,
too much, but I think that will
yeah.
be too much for my work. Right? I'm not limiting myself, I'm just saying the truth. But but what is this motivation that you had that had you had you pursue this practice? I mean, when you told us your story that you really knew that you are going to be Bob Proctor's friend, right? I love that. I have a little a side story here too. A couple of years ago, I'm not sure if you know Vishen Lakiani of Mind
Yes,
Valley.
I do. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So I learned about, I was reminded of Bob Proctor actually from Vision when he said that Bob told him that Vision, you are thinking small. Why
yes,
are
I
you, right?
remember that story.
That
Yes.
story. And so I remember that. And I was at the point of my time too, of my life, wherein, am I really thinking small? Like, should I really, what am I really going for this? I mean, is it really money that's stopping me from being awesome? I mean, why? And I went back to my book, like the Think and Grow Rich. I remember I still had it when I was in high school. So I went back to it. It's just like a Bible to me. Anyway, so one of those things that stuck with me, right? I want to be a friend or affiliated, or at least get to witness Bob, and also be if not a friend, work with Vision and Mind Valley, to which it
Mm.
happened in like 2 years after.
Ah,
Yeah, so I work with Mind
ah,
Valley, which,
congratulations.
thank you. But it's actually it's not about, it's not about that. What I loved about it was the magic of your thoughts, of stepping, like into the outside the bubble that you're currently in. And when you said that you wanted to become affiliated, associated, be a friend of Bob Proctor, it's not because you just want to be friends with him, but it's really more of like being associated with that same of frequency, right, and energy. And I know, again, I sound woo woo here, but I'm so happy I get to speak to
Yes.
someone like this. But I wanted to ask you too. I just want to share that story because I feel that I really resonate with you, that nothing is impossible and people are people and we are all but the same. But what is this motivation that you had that had you say, okay, I'm going to be a friend of Bob. I'm going to do this. I'm going to practice it. I'm still here. I'm growing. Stretching and all these. So that's the first question. And just to follow into that, what great lessons have you picked up from all these years of experiences that, we want people to learn?
Mm. So,
Mm.
Cassie, the first thing that came up when you asked the first question, what is it, the motivation? For me, it's spirit. For me, it was something that I was born with. Like I said, my first childhood memory
Yeah.
was, was me. knowing that I will be, leading people around the world in a spiritual way to break through their blocks. And I thought I'd find that through psychology and counseling. So that's why I studied
Oh, that's
psychology and counseling.
why. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I loved it, absolutely loved it. It was fantastic. And then, I was naturally doing this, and I mean, we all do it, we're all attracting, and I out of nowhere attracted a senior management job after I finished university. It was crazy. And and even though I've had a great career, it just wasn't it. It was yearning. I was always yearning for more. And I was thinking about this today because I was thinking about how I was as a manager. And, I just felt like this. I just felt like I wasn't myself. It was just like this. And now I'm like this because I'm me. I'm doing what I was born to do. So that's what motivates me. I can do this 24/7. And I think if you're aligned with spirit will take you to the right people. That's why I was aligned with Bob. He is a soul friend. I didn't want to know Bob because he was famous.
Yeah, that's it.
Like, I have no desire to hang out with Angelina Jolie. I mean, I'm sure she is fantastic. I love watching her. I admire her beauty. I think she's just amazing, but I don't have a desire to be friends with her. Okay. So it's not because he was famous. It was because he was naturally a part of my path, a part of my intuition, a part of my soul. So that's how it happens. And I tapped into that energy, and then I used my imagination naturally and did not share it with anyone. So yeah, so that's where the motivation comes from for me. It's a deep thing inside me.
And what are the great lessons that you've picked up along the way as you actually reach this point that you are now within alignment of what it is that you're doing, that you have found your calling? Um, what was the greatest lesson so far?
So I'm still learning lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you never stop learning. But I think, so the one that just gives me chills, the one that I just thought about is quantum leaps are easy. Quantum leaps are ease and flow.
Really? Let's talk about that. Why?
Yeah.
Why do you think so? Why do you think quantum leaps are easy?
Because I've experienced so many of them in the
Mm.
past 3-4 years.
Mm.
When I stepped out and when I took a risk, and I was $500,000 in debt.
Wow.
And you can
I
go
didn't know
from,
that.
yeah, and you can go from, well, it was good debt. It was on mortgages. I had 2 properties, but it was still a lot of debt if you didn't have a job, right? I left my work completely. And you can change that in a second.
Mm.
When you understand and you tap in to your own power,
Mm.
when you understand the truth of who you are, and when you understand the same power is in you, Cassie, and your listeners, as is in me, as is in Bob, as is in, Yusha Nikami from Mind Valley, we're all the same. We're all exactly the same. The difference is some of us are more aware. We choose to become more aware and connect to that power. And some of us choose to stay in our head as victims. That's the only difference.
Yeah, and action is really the one that will bring you more clarity. And you're the only one who is hindering you from doing the best thing that you're supposed to be doing.
Yes.
God, I'm having chills right now, and this is so good, Suzanne. Um, wow. So if you were, I mean, let's just before we add into this, this episode, I was just about to say program, but I felt like we're in a coaching call. But but if you were I love it. Maybe we should have this conversation often. But if you were to undo, let's just say, if you were about to maybe 5-10 years ago, I mean, things that you didn't know before, now that you know them, right? If you were to undo or redo all these learnings that you had in life, including all these mistakes, all these quantum leaps and stuff like that, all those everything, right? And you will put them back in order for you to live the rich life, whatever that rich life may mean to you, right? And get to be in this place again. What do you think are going to be the 3 or 5 steps that you would have done that may have maybe expedited, where you are right now? I mean, I'm not saying you may regret things, right? But because
Yes,
all of
yes,
those happens for a reason. But just
yes,
so if you're gonna redo your life, what do you think? Like 3 to 5 steps, actionable steps that you can share.
absolutely. So, first of all, I mean, so we were a migrant family in Melbourne, and with that, we experienced some tough times and some traumas, quite severe trauma. And you carry that with you, and some people would say, or maybe a younger version of me would say, I wish I didn't have that. I wish that I could rub that out. I wish that didn't happen, right? So, but me now would say that is a part of us. That is a part of our journey. And I love that part also. There's things that I want to change too. But I love your question. So 3 to 5 things that would have, I guess, catapulted me to what I'm doing now earlier. And sometimes I do wish I had done this 10 years earlier, maybe not in my 20s, but in my 30s.
Okay,
And
actionable steps. Yeah.
yeah, and the only reason I didn't is because I did not have the confidence.
Yeah.
I acted confident, but I was very, very, very insecure. So what I would do is I would get myself a coach. I would invest. That was probably the mistake that I made. Okay. So I would purchase programs, that I could afford, but a big coach, like an expensive coach, like the amount of money that I've spent in coaching in the past,
I
I
know.
wish I had done that back then,
Yeah.
because everybody needs somebody that is 100 steps ahead of them to bring them up.
That's
So, so it's the confidence, it's investing rather than investing in houses and everything, even redraw from my mortgage. I would invest in, a coach, at least $10,000, no one cheaper, right?
yeah,
Something
agree. I agree.
that has got huge success already. There's just a different mindset. There's a different mindset with people that have, got the success, that have made a lot of money. It's different to the ordinary people that you hang out with.
Hmm.
Um, and third, I would allow I wish I had the audacity to jump and allow myself to fail.
Yeah.
So yeah, because failure is a part of success. So it would be confidence, getting a coach, working on my confidence, tapping into that spirit inside me that always knew, getting a coach and allowing myself to fail without, being humiliated, because it was the humiliation that stopped me. So yeah. So I think it would be those 3 things.
That's so true. I mean, I think before I also passed on, before I actually went for this coaching programs as well, like it was more than the money that I can ever afford. And my husband was like, are you sure you're gonna do this? That's as much as amount of a house or an apartment, right? I mean, and
Yeah.
you're in the Philippines and you're gonna spend that. I mean, where is this confidence coming from? And I was telling him, like, you know what? I went back again to Think and Grow Rich, and I mean, if Napoleon Hill, and all these other people, like in the book, if you read them, they all have their own mentors and coaches. Like, it's ridiculous that we normal people. I'm not saying they're not normal, but they're also normal in their own way, but we don't have that. And I told
Oh,
him, like,
isn't it? It's crazy. Yeah.
crazy. right? Even Bill Gates has one. Robert Kiyosaki has one. Napoleon
You've
Hill has
got,
one.
you
Right?
know, like, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And when I found out the vision has also Bob Proctor, and I was like, you know what, there is a chain here, right? And that people are not just meant to be friends, we're meant to help each other. But there should be a skin in the game in order for us to further commit. Because some people they would say, I remember this, I just want to share this with you, Suzanne. When I started my business too, like there were three startup founders who declined my idea. And then I said, you know what, I want to have a coaching, platform where I get to help coaches and match them at a certain price and stuff. And they would say, Cassie, that's ridiculous because coaches and mentors are supposed to have a relationship in order for them to bind. And I was like, oh no, that's not what I believe in. But
Mm.
it took time. It took 3 years, before it took a pandemic for it to happen. But but what I realized is that you're right. You're right about that. That it's not because it's expensive, right? It's because they know that they can bring you 10x of that, right? That a portion of that maybe,
Exactly.
right? It's just a portion of that,
Right. That's right.
right?
That's, yes,
Right?
yes.
Yeah. So thank you for saying that. And at least, someone had to say it. And I'm happy it's not me anymore because sometimes, when people gets to hear it from maybe from me, from somebody else, sometimes they're just so immune to it that they need to hear it from somebody else, and especially from a woman. So thank you for saying that. I truly, truly believe in that too. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I feel
Yeah.
like we have
So
more coaching calls here.
anytime, anytime. But look, the bottom line is, right, had I done that,
Yeah, how,
I would
right?
have been 10 years ahead.
Yeah,
If I
exactly.
did that 10 years ago when I was least confident to do this,
That's why
okay,
I
how,
feel
how much is 10 years worth for you? So if you're saying that 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 a year is too expensive for you, then, one of the things that I learned from Bob is if you're not going to invest in yourself, you do not deserve to win. You won't win. That's
yeah,
it.
so true.
Mm.
So, so true. And 10 years, it's something that you can never gain it back. You can
No,
never gain back,
that's right.
right? With
That's
money, you can always restructure the payments. With
yeah.
money, there can always be a discussion. With the money, there's going to always be, okay, what will be the next step, right? But with time, period, you're done.
Mhm.
Okay, I
Mhm.
love that. I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you for saying that. And I'm so, so excited for you. So before we end this episode, maybe I have one more question for you. Like just to circle back to you being often referred to as the missing link between failure and success. Why was that? I mean, what is the magic of Susanna that every serial entrepreneur needs to have you available in their back pocket?
You know, I wish I could bottle it up. Um,
Okay.
I can't explain to you what I do. So part of my program is the Thinking into Results program
Yeah.
because I know Bob's stuff works, and I think you need that foundation
Yeah.
to help you with that.
Mhm.
Okay. The rest is, again, I bring that gift, that that part of me to you, and I connect with you, every week, and I guess it's an energy. I guess it's a combination of my studies, my experience. Um, I'm very, very intuitive. It's something that I was born with. I think we all are. It's just tapping into it. But I've always been able to feel energy. I was a very, very sensitive child. So that's got its difficulties, but the good thing is you can feel where a person is exactly at, so you know the right thing to say, the right next step for them. The energy that you need to bring to connect with that person to help them take their next step and transform. So it's a combination of that combined with, Bob's incredible program,
Mm.
combined with also my experience and how I've done it. So, monetary wise, being one of the top people with the pin holders, there's not many PGI consultants that have a PIN. Um, so a combination of my experience, a combination of my studies, a combination of my natural gift, and Bob's program.
Okay. So thanks again. I really pick up so much helpful advice and words from you that I feel like I still want to like go on and on and on. But I really am grateful to have you here. I hope that we can do this again. But if there is something that you would want to share or want to give an advice or a word of encouragement to the women or to the driven and ambitious people who are listening, especially, my listeners too, right? What will that be?
Absolutely. You know, from my heart to yours, to all of theirs, I would say connect to yourself, connect to your soul, because your soul knows. And never, ever, ever listen to anybody telling you otherwise. Never, ever. If you like me, don't share it with anyone. Just know that your soul knows. And your dream that you have is not only available and ready for you, it is here because it is your purpose. And your dream that you have, no matter how big it is, you have potential inside you, enough potential inside you to go way beyond that dream. So
True.
stay focused, connect with your heart, get in a space of heart service, open up to receiving, because there is so much abundance waiting for you right now. And know your truth and stick to it.
Absolutely. Love it. So where can they find you? And is there anything else you want to share before we end this?
That's my message to the world. Like, I want the world to wake up. I want every single individual to wake up, because it's in your waking up to your truth, to your potential, that we all get to benefit, that together we raise the vibration of this world that's hurting at the moment. You know,
Mm.
you can't have anger if you're in your heart space, or think nasty things if you are aligned with your higher good, with your higher self. And you're here to serve the world, and you're here to shine through your gift. You have such a special gift, and you're here for a reason. You are a gift to us. So that would be my message to everybody. Where you can find me, you
Yeah.
can find me on my website, Your Two Minds. So it's YOUR, the digit two, yeah, the digit two, MINDS.com. I also have a Facebook group. It's called the Millionaire Round Table. Millionaire Round Table. I give a lot of value in the group, about wealth, about spirituality growth, spiritual entrepreneurship, spiritual millionaires, connecting to your abundance, etc.
I wish we wouldn't end this call though, but I'm so, so grateful again for everything. Thank you, Suzanne. Okay. So,
That's it,
yeah.
yeah. I just want to say the honor is mine. I love your work and your cause and your purpose and what you're doing for so many people. So, I'm so grateful, and thank you for having me on your show.
Of
It's my honor.
Of course, we need more ambitious and driven women to exemplify and show the world that we can do it too. All right, so there we have it. It's all about risk and trust. This is something that I've learned from this episode today. Your desires are not nothing, and remember that we only get to trust what we're familiar with. But the real breakthrough happens when we step outside of our comfort zone, stretch ourselves, apply action for clarity and understanding. In order for us to get into the flow, we've got to stay attuned to what we do, brave our way towards the big mission, and take every quantum leap as we can in order for us to become and be. This is your Ambitious Drive podcast. I'm your host, Cassie. Thank you again to Zan for being here. Drive ambition, serve love. Until the next one.
Thank you.